Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TEDXcellence, the show in which I take a look at interesting talks from interesting people saying interesting things about interesting subjects. As I sit here in my Corona bunker on the moon with Dog Cat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Apologies for the delay, guys. It's the perils of live TV in a time of coronavirus, wherein I'm basically on call from home the entire time, and work interceded briefly, but I am free now, here to join you and torture myself. Hopefully not you, unless you're a masochist and you like that kind of thing. And then, well, this is your kind of place. Oh boy, and a big hello to all of you who showed up for this wonderful broadcast, specifically Functional, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. Joe Faps, hello. Jen T. Maxey, hello. Satanic Cultist, hello. Eric Grunstadter, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. Drew W, hello. Quinn the Cultist, hello. I said, did I just say Quinn the Cultist? I didn't say Quinn the Cultist. That was the first time I said it. Good for me. Death Clock, hello. Attack Alpaca, hello. Tall Person, hello. Mike Savage, blarg. Havoc Vladimirovich Stalinov, hello. Viewer of Ashmedai, hello. Roger Reynolds, hello. Robbie Schroeder, hello. Joys of Sorrow, hello. Humble Clay, hello. Truckin' Bear, hello. Red Chaostry, hello. Holy Cats. Johnny Hellcat, hello. W.R. Costin, hello. Emperor W.R. Costin. Going back into stream lore deeply there, because I like to go deep. But Deck Tran, hello. Those micro expressions, though. I know, right? Let me close my door there. Get some of the extraneous noise out of the way. And thank you, Tall Person. Happy Cellophane Tape Day, everybody. I bet that was made up by Scotch. I just have a sneaking suspicion. Angela Arriaga, hello. All right, guys. So what do we have on the docket for today? Well, a long title for a relatively long TEDx. The title is, What If, through claiming our true gender, we claim our true strength? What if, through claiming our true gender, we claim our true strength? What does this person mean by true gender? I have no idea, but I am fascinated to find out, because I want to know how to better myself. You know, that's one of my goals in life, is not necessarily be a static creature, but to be one that is evolving in perspectives and wisdom and knowledge and Pepperjack. But also, Zombie Teddy, hello. Devil Fruit Zero, hello. That One Servant of Satania, hello. Pear D Bear, hello. And M, hello. All right, guys. So, as usual, since I don't have a co-pilot on this episode, I'm going to play a little bit of sound. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we will proceed.
Fit in or get out.
Fit in or get out. You guys hear that? Now, I did try to boost the sound a bit. It's not the best sound quality in the world, but hey, you know, I did what I could. Fine, sounds good. 5 by 5. Thank you, guys. All right, so fit in or get out. What if through claiming our gender, we claim our strength? By Julie Kratz. No idea who she is. Maybe she'll tell us.
What if through claiming our gender, we claimed our true strength?
Mm-hmm.
To be strong could mean to have muscles.
Uh-huh.
To eat a lot of spinach.
Uh-huh.
To be physically dominant.
Uh-huh.
Hard at work.
Uh-huh.
Political.
Uh-huh.
Or even aggressive.
Uh-huh.
In fact, the definition of strong is having the power to move heavy things or perform physically demanding tasks.
Okay, I don't know what's happening with the sound here, because from what I can see, it's out of sync with her mouth. If that continues, I might just end this here and redo this at some point, because I can't stand that personally. That drives me up the wall. So if that's an artifact of the original, or if that's something that I accidentally did. I don't know. But if it continues, I'm not going to continue this because that would drive me nuts. And I think it would probably drive anybody watching it nuts too. Now, if you all tell me you don't care, I'll shovel along through. But I have at least some standards of quality.
I can test a different version of strong. I define strong as being who you are, especially when it's hard. And there's an intersection between strength and gender, and letting people claim their true gender is letting them claim their true strength.
Okay, I'm going to check the original video file real quick and see if this is something that's just inherent to it or if this is something that happened after I re-rendered it. Nope, this is part of the original recording. Oh, joy. Okay, well, I guess I'll muscle on through. So we'll just listen to the words and not pay so much attention to what she's saying, if you get my drift. Apologies, guys. Live TV. And push the play button.
When we deny people the ability to identify their true gender, we are denying their ability to claim their true strength.
Okay, deny people the ability to claim their true gender. What? First off, I need a definition of what true gender is. And then I need to know what are the mechanisms that are denying people the opportunity to do so. Because I don't know what either one of those things means. That is very important. Let's see if she actually does her job here.
So my corporate America career began in the construction industry. Very female dominated. I'm kidding. Of course, female dominated industries do not exist.
Female dominated industries do not exist. Right? I'll just take that one and put it in my pocket for later.
However, it was the early 2000s, and my mother told me the feminists had paved the way. The world was equal for men and women. Everything had been settled. So, as I entered the doors on my first day of work, suddenly I was quite surprised. There were 10 men and just me in the leadership development program.
Obviously sexism, that horrible patriarchy. None of those guys were there on the basis of their experience or skills or interests or passion. They were only there because of their genitals. Obviously.
I wondered, this doesn't feel so equal.
Maybe it's based on merit and not on aesthetics. I mean, was every man in that room the exact same height? Obviously, the entire industry is heightist, isn't it, then? Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Where did all the women go?
You're it. Congratulations. You were the one that was most interested, most driven, most talented, presumably. Unless, God forbid, there's any suspicion you're only there because you're a woman, which would completely undercut anything about you as an individual, wouldn't it? I mean, we wouldn't want to go down that route, would we?
Fast forward 4 years. This is me driving an excavator, which, by the way, I did enjoy.
Are you wearing a dress while driving that excavator? I don't see any pants, or maybe they're cream-colored pants or something.
However, what you can't see in this picture is that on most days, I wore steel-toed boots that were only available in men's sizes.
There are no steel-toed boots in women's sizes. You'll forgive me if there is a press X to doubt in my mind at present. A press TEDx to doubt. Ha 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 ha.
A caterpillar coat that was only available in men's sizes.
Oh, because you need a caterpillar caterpillar coat to drive a caterpillar? Will no other coat do?
And khakis and a polo with my complete masculine package on.
What? Khakis and a polo is a masculine package. unless you've got some secrets to tell us, you do not have a masculine package. I'm just saying.
I was strong by everyone else's standards, but not by my own.
So this sounds like a personal problem. Got it.
I was desperately trying to fit in and felt a sense that I did not belong.
You felt a sense. Got it.
I felt fit in or get out.
You felt that way. Got it.
Gender is a construct.
No, gender is a biological fact.
We created gender as two categories.
No, nature created two categories. Generally speaking, sure, there are androgynous creatures out there or biological mechanisms that can allow one gender to effectively stand in for another, but those are anomalies next to the vast amount of biological canon, let's say.
A binary term, male or female, boy or girl, as if there's no in between.
There is no in between. Anything in between is a birth defect, at least in humans. If you're talking about other species or other animals, there are various exceptions. But when we're talking about human beings, there's male or female. That's why the term is transgender, not third gender or fifth or sixth or whatever else. Thank you, Drew W. Worked with steel-toed shoes for 20 years. She's full of it. Yeah, I think she is. If there's a market for steel-toed women's boots, there are steel-toed women's boots. I can't speak as to the Caterpillar catalog for jacket sizes, but everything else, yeah. But more so the fact that everything she cited was a matter of her feeling. She felt. And feelings, as we know, are self-chosen.
What we know now about gender is it's very fluid. There is actually a spectrum from masculine to feminine, and people identify all along that spectrum.
I can identify as Napoleon Bonaparte. That does not change the biological reality of what I am. So, someone can feel more feminine than they are masculine while still being a man biologically, sure. And vice versa, a woman can feel more masculine than she does feminine while still being biologically a woman, certainly. In the most extreme situations, you have gender dysphoria, where people feel as though they are in the wrong kind of body. Sure, that does not change the foundationary truth that there are two genders, male and female. Gradients of the expression of those genders, as classically expressed through hormones, biology, and certainly cultural standards or cultural expectations, can vary person to person. However, there's still only two genders, male and female. Thank you, Drew W. again. I ID as Bezos' son. Where's my money? It's in a trust. It's a hidden trust. You have to go find it with a secret map that's hidden on the back of the foundationary documents of McDonald's. National Treasure 4. Wait, was there a National Treasure 3? I don't know.
Now, gender equality is a priority in a lot of workplaces.
It's also a requirement in every workplace by federal law. Priority or not, it's kind of required. And if you find someone violating federal law, call the authorities and get a lawyer. You probably have a good suit.
But very few organizations are getting this right.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
I've heard a lot of doozies over the years speaking about this topic. And I'll share a few with you.
Okay.
One time I was on stage.
Oh, okay. So these are anecdotal. Got it.
And a young man actually challenged gender equality, saying that the Bible supported male supremacy. That was a tough one to handle. Or the countless times I've walked around organizations and they've said, we want more women leaders. We just can't find them. Or they're primary caregivers and they want to be mothers instead. Men are fathers too, as if this is a choice.
Being a parent is a choice. In the modern day, that's a choice. I'm also curious, is she going to tell us how she responded to Bible Boy? Not that I agree with Bible Boy. I would just be curious to know what her argument back was. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Oh ho, mon capitaine. Oui, oui, mon capitaine. Comment allez-vous?
Or one of my personal favorites, a time that a male-dominated technology company decided to have a pool party and wondered why the women felt uncomfortable wearing their bathing suits in front of their male colleagues.
They felt uncomfortable. Did the men like wear shorts exposing more of their bodies than the women? I don't know. So obviously all the men were there to ogle the women and the women were incapable of ogling the men. Is that the implication? I'm not quite sure.
These are innocent.
Also, is that a modern photo? That doesn't look like a modern photo. Maybe she's just using photos for the sake of example, but okay.
Examples of organizations trying to do the right thing and not getting it right.
How are they not getting it? Wait. Somebody in an audience challenges you on gender equality on the basis of the Bible. Okay. Curious to know how you responded. Right? You don't see enough women in leadership positions. Just women. Again, there's no other qualification necessary. Just we need to see more women. And then women who attended a pool party, who I assume chose to attend a pool party, who chose to wear swimsuits, not just show up in regular, street clothes or just casual or something. They felt uncomfortable. Well, they weren't required to take off everything except their swimsuits, I assume. They weren't required to swim. It's a pool party. It's a party around a pool. As far as I know, nobody holds a gun to your head to make you swim. So these are all a matter of choice, including parenthood. So I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
This is a typical org chart in corporate America. If your organization looks like this, you are not alone.
Okay. And you inserted those photos there. Okay. Got it.
In the 12 years I served in corporate America, I never had the opportunity to work for a woman.
And why is that important to you?
The challenge with this is that as humans, we look for ourselves reflected in the organization structure. We look for people like us to feel a sense of belonging.
No, we don't. No. I mean, if you do, then you might be sexist or racist or elitist in some fashion. I don't know what to tell you. I go to work looking for a paycheck. I go to work looking for a company that I can have some faith in, that I can feel, productive doing something. If I'm lucky, some jobs are just jobs and you go there because you need the paycheck. Some jobs grow on you, become part of your routine, and you take some pride in, especially if you have some vested interest in the company's success. But if you're going into a company looking for people who look like you, your priorities, at least in my opinion, are a bit skewed.
So if you don't look at your organization structure and see yourself reflected, you will feel a feeling of fit in or get out.
So if I don't see someone who looks like me in the organizational structure, I should then assume that the company is sexist and or racist and or whatever, because someone in some position of authority in the company doesn't look like me. At the tippy top of a company, which includes the fewest people overall, that's how I should assess things. All right. And then my phone beeps at me because of course it does. And while I do that, Professor Chaos, thanks so much. Work is not your family, it is work. All depends on the office place. All depends on the dynamics of the business. I mean, for the most part, I don't want to see, and I get very wary of companies that promote the idea that work is an extension of your real life, so to speak. That work is a family, that work is part of your overall everyday. When I hear the phrase, bring your whole self to work, or bring your authentic self to work, and things like that, and I've talked about this before, the intentional diminishing of professional distance, wherein your personal life and your work life fuzzes as being demarcated between going to work and leaving work, you end up becoming a full-time employee because you're never technically away from work. You're always involved in work. Your life is entwined at work. Employee resource groups and activities that involve aspects of your makeup or something that they promote as unifying or diversity and inclusion, etc., just draws you in more to always be on the job, always be promoting the company, because now work is your life and your life is your work, and so on. I find it particularly insidious. You know, it may be a road to hell is paved with good intentions kind of situation. All the same, I find it a little insidious. But that was an aside. Let's continue.
It is a universal human experience. This is a challenge because what we know is today, 31% of Gen Z, the next generation to enter the workforce, identifies as LGBTQ+.
And you know, the umbrella for what is included under LGBTQ+ is so humongous now. Especially when you factor in the idea that there is a spectrum of genders. And that it's also a lot of fad identification for the sake of attention or otherwise. Anyway, Chaos Eve, thank you so much. I don't care if I join a company comprised of burly black men. If they treat me with respect and we get along, who cares? Also, hi, Scribe. Hi, Eve. I think I missed out on throwing a horrible pun, StarCraft pun at you at your stream on Sunday. I was occupied. Apologize for that. Became kind of a tradition. I'll try to drop in at some point and, do my bit. And thank you, Chicago Mike. Hi, Scribe at work right now. We'll catch you later today. I do like the work from home. Just like with everything else, there's pluses and minuses to working from home. I'm not sure if the minuses outnumber the pluses yet, but we'll see. But speaking of pluses, LGBTQ+, again, 31% of Gen Z. So Gen Z, which is a percentage of the population in and of itself, 31% of that percentage identify as somewhere between lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, plus. Plus means any number of things, depending on how you categorize it. So sure, I can believe it. Does that mean that that 31% should drive the perspectives and opinions and, I don't know, delicacies of the rest of us, whatever the percentage left over is?
50% of people in the workplace are closeted.
50% of the people at the workplace are closeted. Okay, there are a lot of reasons that could be the case. I don't know where she's getting her statistics because she's not giving us any citation, but okay, I'll take her word for it for a second. 50% of people work. Half of the population who is currently working is closeted gay, according to our speaker. I cannot speak as to the motivations behind remaining closeted, etc. But at the end of the day, whatever the forces are that may be making you decide to stay quiet about it, that's your business. If you don't want to talk about your private life, you don't have to. There's no imperative to be out and proud if you don't want to be. If you want to be, fine. If you don't want to be, you don't have to. Regardless, it's a choice. It's a personal choice. Why is that bad? Why do you say that that is inherently bad? Are you saying that the companies are responsible for the person deciding whether or not to come out to the rest of the company about who they like to sleep with? I must be missing something.
Diverse and inclusive companies outperform their peers because they make 87% better decisions.
Better as assessed on what metric? Because nearly every study I've seen has couched the conclusion that simply being a quote unquote diverse and inclusive company equals an increase of the bottom line. There's always been something in there that said to the effect, we cannot cite any correlation between the number of name your demographic and the increase of profitability. I'm sure there are studies out there that say elsewise, but most that I've seen, if they're being honest, have to include that without some very, very hard definitive proof.
And they achieve a 19% higher revenue rate. These are real numbers.
Yeah, they're real numbers that you're not citing the source of. You can say whatever you want, but I have yet to have it proven to me that simply on the basis of personal aesthetics, gender, race, ethnicity, religion, whatever, that alone, having a diversification of that alone, equates to a better outcome. One would think, one would hope, that on the basis of merit and skill and wisdom and experience and on and on and on and on, would equate to better outcomes. Because if it's just a matter of the window dressing, well, hell, you don't have to worry about hiring capable people, do you?
This is a real problem.
Uh-huh.
I myself have contributed to the problem. I've written books about men as allies for women and a book about women developing their career game plans.
And your books were misguided? That's how you contributed to the problem?
I've now pivoted towards overall allyship in the workplace because I've been curious to learn and to get better and to not know all the answers.
So previous to this, you knew all the answers. Now you're admitting you don't know all the answers. So all of your books published prior are completely useless. Is that what I am to understand? That was an amazing self-deprecation, if that's how I heard it. Thank you, John Miller. Twain said it best. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. She must be a great statistician. It's always the God of the gaps theory of statistical analysis. Here is a disparity between these two demographics in industry or situation or something. You see, this is a problem. Let me move on to my next point. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you definitively what the problem is. I'm going to allow your imagination, as framed by the subject matter of the rest of my talk, fill in the blank for me so I don't have to do any extra work to actually prove that this disparity reflects something evil or sinister or intentional, etc. There are no other factors than the one I'm talking about. The God of the gap theory of statistical analysis. It's in nearly every one of these kinds of TED Talks, whenever they bring up statistics, it's always an assumption left up to the audience, an unsaid affirmation that something evil is afoot without actually having to prove it.
This is hard stuff. To challenge the norms that we have always known, the check boxes of male versus female.
Oh, please don't tell me that it's assigned at birth.
How many times have you checked those boxes?
How many times have I checked the box? Well, if I'm at the doctor or something and they need to fill out a form. I can't count how many times I've checked the box. But you know why I checked the box male? Because biologically, I am male. So if I'm going to some place that needs to know my gender for some reason, like maybe a medical reason, you want them to know the reality of the situation, regardless of your feelings. And if you're in a situation where it is not imperative that they know your gender, like a non-medical situation, like you're just filling out some kind of, I don't know, survey or whatever, and you identify as female, then check female. It's up to you. What has that got to do with anything?
To unknow this, to unlearn this system is a challenge.
Yeah, to re-educate is a challenge. There are whole regimes, present and past, that worked very, very hard to convince people of things that were not true.
So let's look back to look forward. Humans have been on the planet for roughly 200,000 years.
Okay.
Most of our existence has been largely egalitarian.
That is a bold statement, but taking you at your word, okay.
In fact, a lot of tribes believed in multiple genders.
Wow, okay. Did multiple tribes war with other tribes on the basis of differences in appearance or belief or simply geography? What was that egalitarian? Just wondering.
12,000 years ago, things changed.
Oh, okay.
We stopped hunting and gathering.
We did.
And we began farming.
Oh, okay. So we moved from a nomadic situation to an agrarian situation. All of us, everywhere, at the exact same time. And there were no in-betweens or anything like that. Okay, got it.
Changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why?
The invention of the farm plow favored men's superior upper body strength. And suddenly women were sent into caretaking roles and to produce workers for the farm.
Oh, so only 12,000 years ago were men the hunters/providers and the women were the caretakers. Only 12,000 years ago. Got it.
And men began making all of the decisions.
Yes, that is true. Men began making all of the decisions forever and ever. Got it.
Today, we teach a history dominated by white men.
Uh-huh.
Did you know that when you show boys and girls alike, you ask them to draw a picture of a leader, nearly 100% of the time, they draw a man?
Oh my God.
That's because what they see countless images of men leading, and there are far few examples of women leading.
So obviously, women are being actively prevented from leading. There have been no women leaders. There are no female role models. It's not been a matter of choice. It's not been a matter of gumption. We didn't just have the popular vote won by a woman in the last presidential election. No. No women have run for high office before. There are no female Supreme Court justices. There have been no female police chiefs, and on and on and on. And none of this is a result of personal choice. None of this is a result of just how the chips fell or the decisions made in the past. No, it's obviously the patriarchy. I'm waiting for the word patriarchy to be said out loud. Maybe I won't hear it, but I'm waiting. Thank you. This is Kyle. Tribes also used to sacrifice themselves to their gods. What the hell is her point? I don't know. Boy, oh boy, did she just hand wave over thousands of years. Magically, it's just magic. And thank you again, Drew W. There were never any queens in the past. No. Cleopatra? No. Elizabeth? No. Mary? No. None of these people existed, you know. And the fact that there are more men in leadership roles than women isn't reflective of, I don't know, biological characteristics that just kind of intercede into one's personality at all. Women aren't incapable of leading. It's just that oftentimes they choose other things over taking on leadership in high office. It's the same thing with the Forbes, 500 or whatever, right? It's like the CEOs. Who wants to be a CEO? Who wants to dedicate as much time and energy and effort to becoming a CEO? I don't, and I'm a man. I wouldn't want that job. The pressure, the expectation. Oh, sure, the rewards might be large, but the risks are large as well. I'm fine just being where I am. It's less stressful. I don't thrive on stress. And a lot of women, they do appreciate being a mother or being a caretaker or avoiding stress. So do a lot of men. Okay.
For example, in corporate America, did you know that there are more men named James leading Fortune 500 companies than there are women CEOs total?
Oh, God. I misspoke earlier. The Forbes 500. There might be a Forbes 500, but I meant the Fortune 500. Yeah, the Fortune 500 always has to come up. And the names of the CEOs, James, John, Patrick, whatever. Oh, that outnumbers as many women. Because there are no female CEOs out there. We only focus on the 500 top companies in the country. A tiny sliver of the number of companies out there. Are there female CEOs at all anywhere? Obviously, only the Fortune 500 matter. That is the one metric that they always cling to as some sign of just how much progress we haven't made. I'd love to know, and I will bet you that the statistics are a disparity, but I would love to know actually how many female CEOs there are in America right now to registered corporations. All right? I mean, registered corporations that at least qualify as small businesses as far as like employee count, something like that. Are there really that few? There might be. I don't know. But they always talk about these 500 as if that's like the end all be all.
I remember reading this book when I was a kid.
Ooh, I do too. I used to own that book. Yeah, the Berenstain Bears. The No Girls Allowed one. Yeah, what was the lesson of that book, might I ask, back in the 80s?
The Berenstain Bears.
Mm-hmm.
No girls allowed.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, why weren't the girls allowed to play with the boys?
I don't know. Why do you have such a hatred for men? Why do you feel like a room full of men who are there in leadership positions is a wrong thing on its face? I'm curious to know. Thank you, Pincalo. Genghis Khan's daughter never led her army. No. No, it never happened. Never happened. Men made all the decisions. Women stayed in the background because of farming plows 12,000 years ago.
Why did we need to treat these genders differently?
Because they're different. I mean, if you're all for not treating the genders differently, by all means, take all the girls on a football team and put them on the same league as all the boys. Have there be no differential between sports teams at all. Go ahead. I mean, why are there feminine hygiene products? Seriously, I mean, I would ask the speaker, why are there quote unquote feminine hygiene products? Is it because that men and women are different? They are different. Difference does not equate to valued and devalued. It just means different. And aren't people like our speaker grand advocates of diversity, i.e. celebrating difference without calling it an inherent detractor or something? Thank you, Tarkata. The tone of most of her sentences raises like a child speaking, and she constantly smacks her teeth. Do businesses pay for this? I don't know. I don't know. A lot of businesses invest a lot of money in diversity and inclusion programs, and especially counselors or experts to come in. They even have, actual positions within their company named for diversity and inclusion officer and so on. So, yeah, I mean, people pay big money for this. Either one of two reasons. Either one, they truly want to, be virtuous, right? Or two, they want to appear virtuous. I mean, I truly believe, and I know this sounds like a conspiracy theory, and maybe it is. I truly believe that a lot of the diversity and inclusion initiatives that companies undertake are, at least in part, done as insulation for possible litigation or liability in the future. If someone comes along and says, this company did blah, 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 or people in this company did horrible things to me based on my gender or my race or whatever else. Even if their claim is legitimate, and especially if their claim is legitimate, the company can, at least rhetorically in a lawsuit, point to all of the money, effort, and time put into diversity and inclusion initiatives to blunt their liability and blunt the argument made by anyone who might make a claim against them in the future. It is cynical. It might be a little Machiavellian, but I don't think it's untrue. Thank you, Asian Hippie, for the sweating, nervous face. I don't know why he's nervous. It's just TEDx. There's nothing to be nervous about. It's all completely fine here.
Gender socialization is taught from the time a child is in the womb.
What? Also, are we going to ignore the studies done? I believe it was in Sweden, where they observed babies who had not yet been socialized in anything because they were babies, like newborns, and how male babies were far more likely to be attracted to mechanical things, whereas female babies were more attracted to toys and cute things and soft things. Because obviously there's no inherent reflex in our biology towards certain interests or certain expectations or anything else. No, it's all taught. Because babies, as we know, are simply blank slates entirely. They're not driven by hormones or biology in any way, shape, or form. And as we also know, boys are just flawed girls at heart. Boys need to be corrected because they're inherently bad.
The first question we want to know the answer to when someone's expecting, is it a boy or a girl? We have to place people in a category.
People are not placed into a category of gender. They either are one or they are the other. That's not being placed. That's just reality.
Have to know which it is.
Yes, so they can celebrate with the person. They're curious because there is an answer to that question, a definitive answer to that question.
And then we have boy room decorations and girl room decorations.
Yes, don't we though? Are we going to be told that pink used to be a boy's color? Because that's true. It's true. Marketing and society has shifted to define blue as a boy's color and pink as a girl's color. You're right. That's obviously a cardinal sin.
We have boy toys and we have girl toys.
We have things that boys are more inclined by biology to be interested in, and we have things that by biology girls are more interested in. Because there is a biological component to these things. I don't know if you know that, speaker.
We teach girls to caretake, and we teach boys to be brave and to take risks.
Yes, no girls are taught to be brave. No girls are taught to take risks. No boys are taught to think about their feelings or the feelings of others. You're right. These are all very, very split down the middle. Nothing ever changes. There is no overlap. And none of these things have any natural inclination that just happens upon people on the basis of their biology. Nature versus nurture. If you're going to go down the list of every single thing someone can do in life and try to decide, is this taught or is this just a factor of their upbringing? Is this just a factor of their biology? You'll be there a very long time. But we see patterns. Over history, we have seen patterns of inclinations between the two sexes. The two sexes. So it is not unreasonable. It is not somehow evil to make informed assumptions about certain things regarding children based on their gender. But let's throw that all out the window. Let's just ignore everything else and talk about this particular moment and this particular mindset, where we have to make everything, generic or have to completely demonize anything that is skewed male because that's obviously bad and bad for women?
This is taught.
No.
It's no surprise that at age 8, a girl's confidence peaks at the very same age that boys are taught to stuff their emotions or either be called gay or be bullied as a result of that. How is this helpful?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me? Because that is obviously what happens to every single person. And yeah, boys are stuffing their emotions. They're not learning to control their emotions. There is no merit to stoicism in the face of a crisis. We should all just be running around like chickens with our heads cut off every time something goes astray. Whoa, that'd be really helpful, wouldn't it? Sorry, I might have a little bit of pepper jack in me. Thank you, Blake Becker. Since she knows everything, who has the biggest death count from all wars? Oh, Blake. The sacrifice made by certain genders over others throughout history. No. I mean, dangerous jobs undertaken. No. Providing for your family as a personal sacrifice. No. Just ignore all of that. That might actually tend to show some kind of, I don't know, meritorious, honorable impulse on the part of men, historically speaking. We can't have that. Obviously, men are bad, women are good, and women are always victims of men. Like in her own example, she didn't just tell us that men can be victims of men too, depending on the circumstances. And also, let us never believe for a moment that women can be victims of other women. There are no toxic impulses among girls in high school, as an example. It never happens. Never happens.
We teach this. It's no surprise that today women are just 6% of Fortune 500 CEOs.
Again, Fortune 500 CEOs, they pull the statistic out every time as though it proves something. Obviously sexism, except there are female CEOs in the Fortune 500. So it's not impossible. There's not a wall put up. We're not going to talk about every other company, only those 500, the top 500, the most valuable, the most stressful, the most sought after positions in business. We'll talk about those 500. We'll ignore everybody else because who cares if you're not on the Fortune 500 CEO, but you're still a CEO? Doesn't matter.
1 in 3 women will be assaulted in their
1 in 3, 1/3 of our female population will be assaulted. Define assaulted, because I have seen people put being looked at funny, being talked to in an insulting manner as being assaulted. Yeah, America is worse than the Congo when it comes to assault. Are you saying sexual assault? How do you define assault?
their lifetime, and women make just 82 cents on the dollar.
Make? Do you mean make as in earn? Well, on that point, I would agree with you. At least you didn't say paid. Because if you'd said paid, I might be a little bit more irritated.
For similar work to their male counterparts. This system is flawed.
Oh, really? Well, if that isn't the easiest statement to make in the history of all histories, tell me a system that is not flawed. Seriously, name for me any system in the history of mankind creation. Oh, sorry, humankind. I want to be inclusive. Name me a system anywhere across the breadth of humankind that was flawless. I'll wait.
And if you don't fit into the system, you feel like you have to get out.
Feel. Well, did you elect to leave that construction business that you were an executive in because you felt like you didn't belong? Was that a choice, or were you forced out? Every time you say feel, you provide nothing except a matter of choice. And so how do you intend to solve choice?
Remember those images I showed you before?
How can I forget?
Of physical strength or women being strong and it maybe not being perceived so well?
Physical strength does not equate to personal strength. There is a difference. I don't know why she's focusing on the physical. You know, my mother, just as an aside, my mother is not a physically powerful individual. She never has been. But for reasons that I won't go into details here, she is one of the strongest people I have ever known. In the face of ridiculous hardship, ridiculous strain, she has never stopped being the most gentle person I have ever had the pleasure to know in my life, practically, because she's worked past it to still be a good person. That is strength of character. You want to talk about physical strength? Fine. I've known plenty of physically strong people who are total and complete wusses. They couldn't handle a bad day if their life depended on it. I've also known incredibly strong people who are total assholes because they're so, I don't know, they have such low self-esteem they have to lash out everywhere and show off or something. Does physical strength equate to a sign that someone is deficient mentally or emotionally? No. But it also doesn't define someone as strong as a person. I don't know how else to put it.
I would argue that being strong is a mentality, not a physicality.
Oh my God. Are you the first person to come up with that? Wow.
To be strong is to persevere.
Oh.
To be brave.
Ah.
To do hard things.
Uh-huh.
To be your true self.
Uh-huh.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when it's truly uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, come on. For those of you listening, there's now a card up that has 3 checkboxes, not 2. Male, neutral, and female. So is neutral the third gender now? I thought you said there was a spectrum. Shouldn't there be like 72 different boxes in between male and female?
And we need to expand the checkboxes.
Okay.
It's not just male or female.
It isn't?
There's actually a category of being gender neutral that we need to embrace and welcome.
Oh, okay. Gender neutral. Still denoting 2 other genders. Okay. What do the I mean, I know I'm asking for a problem here. What do the genitalia look like of the gender neutral gender? What is the name of the third biological sex? I'm just curious.
My home state of Indiana offers this now on our state's driver's license. You can select gender neutral.
Wow. That must make it true on the temporal plane. Because if I say I am something, that makes it true. Obviously.
Why should we do this?
I don't know.
It's the right thing to do for humans.
Oh, it's the right thing to do for humans. Okay, so it's a moral imperative now. Okay, all right.
For anyone that identifies as male or female or anyone in between.
Uh-huh.
Maslow has been talking about this since 1942.
Really? Maslow talked about gender neutrality. I wasn't aware that the distinctions between the 2 genders and anything in between was Maslow's wheelhouse. I'm dying to know.
Aside from our psychological needs being met and our basic needs of safety and food, water, shelter, as social creatures, we seek belonging and connection in the workplace, in our culture, and in society. And if we don't feel that we belong, we do not stay.
And this is the fault of everyone else. Obviously, if I feel that I don't belong, if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel out of place, it's everybody else's fault. I mean, short of being run out on a rail, short of being chased down with pitchforks and torches, if I feel a certain way, it's someone else's responsibility. Got it.
Because we either have to fit in or get out.
Uh-huh.
I know that we can undo this because I myself have experienced it.
Okay.
This is my mother, Nancy.
Uh-huh.
I was raised by a single mom
Okay.
that essentially did both gender roles in my household. She took out the trash, she did the yard work, she did the finances, she also did all the housework.
Wow. You know, all those things you just listed off, both of my parents did in various ways over the course of my lifetime. So, was my mother a man and my father a female? Because my father occasionally did the books and my mother occasionally mowed the lawn? Is that how that works?
And the caretaking. I didn't see gender growing up in my home.
Really? Really? Why are you wearing that dress? Why are you wearing makeup? Why is your hair that long? Why are your legs shaved? What? Really?
She was also the strongest person I've ever known.
Well, I won't deny that. Mothers usually are because they have to go through a whole lot of stuff to be a good mother. So I'll credit your mother with that. Thank you, Drew W. Again, went to a lesbian club and felt out of place. Well, Drew, you see, it's the club's fault for not making you feel included. It's the club's fault. You should sue them, you know, for discriminating against you, despite all signs pointing elsewise.
Right up until she took her last breath. And I will tell you, as I held her hand in the hospital, that I told her that I would be strong and that someday I would raise a daughter to be strong just like us.
And I mean, all I can say, that's very admirable. And I'm sorry for your loss.
Today I have the chance to do that. I have my 6-year-old daughter, Jane, and I see her being her very best self when she is strong, when she is kind, and when she's brave at the same time.
Okay, and why is she wearing a Wonder Woman outfit? Why isn't she wearing a Superman outfit? I mean, if you want to talk about, you know, categorizing people into specific genders, I mean, shouldn't she be wearing, I don't know, Green Lantern or Batman or something? You know, to show that there's no restriction on what someone can appreciate as either a biological male or female. Or was she more inclined towards Wonder Woman for some reason?
This is what's best for humans.
Mm.
But I have to undo that gender socialization that she's getting programmed in at school and in society.
So then you made her start wearing a Superman costume or a Batman costume so she wouldn't fall into the trap of seeing a woman as her hero or someone she wanted to emulate. You know, seeing someone that reflected her after a fashion.
So you better bet every night we have a nightly ritual.
A ritual? Oh, this ought to be good.
We get to talk about being strong.
A nightly ritual where you talk about being strong. All right.
We've done this since she was a little baby.
Uh-huh. You were talking to her when she was a little baby. I'm sure those are very productive conversations.
As she goes to bed, she says her words. And she says, I am smart, I am strong, I am funny, I am beautiful, and I am kind, and I am brave.
Wow, a mantra. All right. Okay.
She then tucks herself in, and she says to me, Mama, say my words back to me.
Yeah, ritual and repetition of mantras. Yeah, sounds like you've got a cult of two going on there.
And I say Jane is smart, Jane is strong, Jane is beautiful, Jane is funny, Jane is kind, and Jane is brave.
I mean, okay. Setting my cynicism aside for a second, it is kind of cute. Not going to deny it. But it's cute on a kid level. This is an adult talking here.
We do this every night to reinforce strength.
We do this every night. You and your minor child. Is it a choice she's making or something that you've imparted upon her? What was that again about forces outside of yourself? Having control over your destiny or something? I know. I'm talking about a mother and her kid doing a cute little thing at the end of every night. It's fine. I know. I'm just one big cynic. What can I tell you?
Call to action for all of you today.
Okay.
I want you to understand the system that we have created around gender is not helpful for anyone.
It's not helpful for anyone. Okay.
To keep people in boxes is to tell people to fit in or get out.
What if I just am comfortable with who I am? And the way in which I am who I am falls into one of the things that you say is a box. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for being interested in true crime? Am I wrong for being interested in female redheads? Am I wrong for feeling okay with being a guy? Is that wrong? Am I a victim because I feel comfortable in the skin that I'm in? Thank you. This is Kyle. Her daughter, assuming her child's gender, it seems. Oh, well. I mean, if she was a real woke parent, she would have let her daughter decide what kind of person she was when she was a baby.
Let's invite everyone to uncheck their boxes, to empathize with those that don't fit into the systems that we've created, and to acknowledge when we're asking people to fit in or get out, we're signaling they don't belong. We're not getting the best from everyone if they're hiding a part of their identity.
Okay, well then, in that scenario, I choose to continue checking the mailbox. Because I'm a man. I'm a man who's heterosexual, who enjoys things that are probably more masculine than are feminine, etc., and so on and so forth. All right, you've given me the choice. You've given me the opportunity. I'm all for people making their own choices. Great. I'll check mail. Not because I'm being forced to, but because that's how it is.
So please join me in being an ally to those that don't identify with these systems. I invite you to empathize, and I know we will all be stronger for it.
Okay. We're not stronger for promoting the idea that there's no such thing as gender. We're not stronger for promoting the idea that if you see a room full of men in leadership positions, obviously all of those men are evil and there's a system keeping women down inherently. And on and on and on. If you don't feel that you fit into the male or female quote unquote checkbox, fine. I don't care. Your life. Be what you want. Be who you want. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, it's not my problem. But I'm not going to feel ashamed, and I'm not going to encourage the idea that being one gender or the other in your expression is somehow inherently bad, or that one aspect of my expression somehow emits toxicity onto other people. I'm not hurting anybody by being who I am. If I was, well, I'd feel pretty bad about it. I should, because I'm a human being who has some compassion. I'm not a psychopath. But embracing your true gender. Hey, for everything else that might be a complaint I might have about the world, that's something I don't dwell on. And I'll tell you what, people that do dwell on that or feel that they have to because of dysphoria or something, I cannot imagine what that must be like. For people with actual dysphoria, I cannot imagine what that must be like. So, insofar as I am able, I have sympathy for people who actually struggle with that in a way that I couldn't understand. You know? And so people who figure it out for themselves, make a choice, and feel good about themselves as a result of whatever choice they make, hey, more power to you. And I mean that sincerely. But at the same time, I'm not living in fantasy land. There are certain truths in the world that are not malleable. And promoting the idea that they are, against all evidence to the contrary, against thousands of years of evidence, saying that somehow acting like a classic quote-unquote male is inherently bad, and acting like a classic quote-unquote female is inherently good, or vice versa. I mean, I can't count how many times I've seen women who's come out and say of their own volition, you know what? I like being a housewife. I like cooking for my husband. And women like that being vilified, demonized, kicked into the dirt by other women, as though they've somehow violated some sacred pact amongst the females of the progressive age. You know, either personal choice is something that you can respect, or it isn't. And if it isn't, you might be the problem. Okay, I've gone on more than enough. Going to give the next couple minutes to you guys. I've already gone over time a little bit, but it was a longer TEDx talk, honestly. So if you have any statements or things you'd like to say, put them in the chat now. I'll get to as many as I can, but I'm not going to take too much time because I don't want this to go on forever. Death Glock says, it was said here earlier, and it's as true now as ever. They don't call them friends, they call them allies, because allies are easier to stab in the back. Yeah, you ever see that? Like allies, we got to have a separate category for people that are just supportive. An ally, like it's a treaty, like it's a conditional thing, like it's possibly temporary based on the circumstance. You know, we're allies with you through this war because we have a common enemy. But after that, I don't know, it's tenuous at best. That one servant of Satania, she wants us to have the gender-neutral system while enforcing female gender on her child. Rules for thee, but not for me. Definitely didn't expect that at all. Yeah, why was she wearing a Wonder Woman outfit? Why was she permitted to wear a Wonder Woman outfit on the chance that it might corrupt her sensibilities? I don't know. Kieverdam says internalized misogyny. Well, there's that too. Anal in Scribelight, what about all the other genders in CEO roles besides men or women? Oh, I don't know. I mean, she wanted to talk about a spectrum, but she kept falling back on the binary. I don't know. Havoc, Vladimirovich Stalinov, I know how to sew. Does that make me a woman? Well, I mean, obviously it makes you gay or something, right? It doesn't make you totally a man. Like you can't do anything that is assigned to women as a man and not end up being less a man. Just like, you know, you can't have women be truck drivers. That would make them men. Obviously. None of these things intersect or overlap or anything. And at the end of the day, you refute your own gender by doing things not assigned to your gender, I guess? I don't know. Graph Spree, Scribelight, the scariest part is these are voters. Well, the scariest part is to me, and not just this lady, but so many others, this is the kind of speaker, the kind of counselor, the kind of intellectual expert that businesses pay attention to, that schools pay attention to, that other people in leadership positions pay attention to. You know, this is the kind of mentality that is being promoted and paid for and normalized. And it just, I mean, I could go on, but I think I already have. El Vaquero 555, what about the underrepresentation of females in sanitation jobs? No woman has ever pumped or worked on my septic tank, Scribelight. You know, there are no female-led industries. She told us there are no female-led industries. And obviously, every male-dominated industry should have an equitable number of females in it. So we need to press gang females into every industry, no matter what, even if they don't want to, even if they have no interest in it, even against their will or better judgment. because that's how we reach equality. We have to make it, because it sure isn't going to do it on its own. Don't you know? Polydub, in my time in grad school, the official teaching policy has changed from sex is biological, gender is social, to both are social constructs. Seems legit and not trendy. Yeah, like I've said again, sex, if we want to get down to like the real verbiage here, if you're talking about biological sex, there are two. The expression of gender can run the gamut. Certainly. Like I've said, there are men who, I don't know, express themselves in a more feminine way, and there are women who express themselves in a more masculine way. Does that change their biological sex? No. Does that change how they feel about themselves sexually, as in who they're attracted to or what they like to wear or how they decide to express themselves? No. Does male biological gender fully and absolutely determine the outcome of someone's personal expression? No. Same for the female biological gender. Does not inherently determine and say for certain how that person is going to behave, or quote unquote should behave. Social pressures are social pressures. They are there in one state versus another state. They are there in one era versus another era, and on and on. Have we reached a place where people can be more free to feel as though they can express themselves beyond the 1950s metric that we all see brought up all the time as somehow that's how everybody sees men and women always forever? Yes. Does that mean people have to? Does that mean that you're a bad person if you feel comfortable just being a quote-unquote relatively classic female or male? Because that seems to be what it is. You're vilifying anyone who falls into the norms. You know, in the broad sense. If you fall into the norms of male or female, you're old-fashioned. You're promoting some kind of evil dichotomy. The true and most virtuous way to be is to divest yourself of anything that could be confused for one gender or the other, and we should all be just this plain, bland, gray middle somewhere, I guess. That's what I take from our speaker. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe Light, would homemakers be a female-dominated domestic industry? I don't know. I keep hearing how domestic work should be paid the same as real work. So maybe so. I don't know. Let's see. Parody Bear, Mayan woman, they don't exist. The ebb and flow of the centuries have produced nothing of value to build upon. Yes, I guess. Straight Sith Male, again, Scribe, this woman is taking away individualism. Well, it's demonizing personal choice, or just ignoring the possibility that a personal choice could, unfortunately for her, I guess, end up in one of the quote-unquote boxes. Why is her daughter wearing a Wonder Woman outfit and not a Batman outfit? Not a Superman outfit? Not a Green Lantern outfit? Why is she wearing a Wonder Woman outfit? Why would her mother allow her to allow herself to fall into that singular category of expression? Why? Somnambulation. I'm still waiting for the new term for sex to become biological speculation. You know, that sounds like the basis for a TEDx talk. You should totally do that. I want to talk to you today about biological speculation. Coming from the expert Somnambulation. Reverse engineer that phrase. Seriously, you could make a speech out of it, and it would probably fit alongside nearly every other TEDx talk I've ever done. But guys, we're coming up on an hour 15. I've gone over time as it is. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this. It was a bit of a slog, as they usually are, but it was informative in a way. I want to keep abreast, so to speak, of what is being put out there. This talk isn't very old. I think it was posted just the other day. These are not stale ideas. These are paid for, popular, and rebroadcast ideas. You see them in the schools, you see them in businesses, and on and on and on. And, if nothing else, I just want to make sure that I'm aware of where the current mindset is. If for no other reason than to, I don't know, just complain. Whatever use that has to the rest of the world or to you. But regardless, guys, thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for your generosity. I hope you are all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. If you'd like to hear more from me or Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find us all tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Ranting Monkey's channel for Lords of the Night, where we'll go over the news, the events of the day, and our interpretations thereof. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.